Everyone, real quick before the video starts, if my background looks dirty at all, this is actually a glitch with YouTube itself. So if you're on browser, you're going to want to just refresh. That should fix the problem. If you're on mobile and you're having this problem, you're going to want to throw your phone in the Atlantic. That should fix the problem. So I was thinking about what kind of video I should come back and make, and I was thinking it's been a while since I've made one of those story time videos. And by been a while, I do mean there has been exactly one video since my last story time video. So, I thought it was time to bring back the series. So I was thinking about what type of story I could tell. And you guys seem to enjoy the ones from my high school experience, or specifically the ones me complaining about my high school experience. And I do have a lot of stories from them, but I feel that they're either too short or just not interesting enough that they deserve a video. So I've been thinking over the past few days of if I could find any stories from my high school experience that deserve a video. And I thought of one. And then I questioned myself whether or not I should make this video because I think this is the only possible story I could tell that might potentially get me sued. So, yeah. So I want to preface this story by saying it's all hypothetical and didn't happen, but it could have, theoretically. Sit back and enjoy this story. This is the story of how my school took away my rights. Theoretically. So to set up this story, I was a freshman in high school. And once you get into high school, at least here in America, we get this class called homeroom, which is meant to be kind of off period where you can pretty much do whatever you want. I mean, it's advertised as a class where you can go talk to teachers and get some help outside of just the general class and not have to like be there at the crack of dawn or stay after school because no student really wants to do any of that. So we would have a homeroom period to do these sort of things. So we didn't get that. We instead got a class called Connections, which is kind of like homeroom if you took all of the like useful stuff about homeroom and stuffed it full of games that could only entertain 5-year-olds. So, all in all, this class was like maybe an hour long, and we pretty much spent the entire time watching these PSA videos on like mental health and not doing drugs. Cyberbullying is bad, which, yeah, I get. Obviously, high school students can be depressed. So, you're like, hey, here's some stuff to know this is how you don't be depressed. But I just want to like say very briefly that I think the reason we're depressed is because you keep showing us videos of depressed people talking about being depressed. And we just kind of like spend an extraordinary amount of time doing things that really we didn't care about. Like, I do not lie when I tell you that I have a certification in CPR because they required us to learn that in this class. Which, like, yeah, useful skill. But when we weren't doing PSAs and learning how to save people's lives, apparently, there was this type of Big Brother program where like older students come in and mentor you on like what being a student is all about, which sounds good in theory, other than the fact that they're only really like 1 year older than us. So like they have no seniority over us, no like established respect of like, oh, I've been through high school. Like they did this class a year ago. This I'm not impressed by you. And the worst thing about that program was that like the only thing that they really did was like do these really silly icebreaker games. It was like trying to get you involved and get to know one another, which is fine. Like maybe the first few weeks, that's kind of like, oh, that makes it easier to know the kids in this class. Except when it's like the last week of school, I'm not wildly interested in learning what Jonathan's name is because I already know his name's Jonathan. I've learned that every week the entire school year. And you know what? In that same vein, Fridays, we had fun Fridays. They were not fun, just so you know, because we got to spend a full hour playing Duck Duck Goose every Friday. No variety. Duck Duck Goose. Do you know what the worst part is? That it was almost impossible to talk to a teacher to get help because you weren't allowed to leave until like the last 10 minutes of class to go see a teacher, which means we can't do it because it was a big school. It took basically 6 minutes to get to the class. And by then, the teacher's like, oh, you got to go now. I'm like, well, I just got here. So, no, I didn't get any help. And it's just not helpful. Because, I may be failing all my classes, but at least I was able to pin the tail on the donkey. So after suffering through this annoying class for like most of the school year, a friend of mine had an idea. We're gonna call this friend Monopoly. Now, Monopoly had the idea of why don't we raise awareness that none of us like this class. It's pretty much only like a few teachers that really want us to do this class. We should let them know we don't want to do this class. We started a petition. And it was a joke to start off with, like, oh yeah, let's all sign a petition to not do this school class. Woohoo! But no, it actually got somewhere. Like within the first week, we had 300 signatures from students. And to add a little context and perspective to all of that, there were only really 1,000 students at this kind of freshman center. So 300 names, that felt impressive to do in like 7 days. We thought, oh, we just kind of peeked. Everyone was in on the joke. But like by the time we hit the prime of this petition, it had over 500 signatures from students and teachers. There were teachers signing this petition to remove this class. And we're like, yes, this is happening. We're gonna do it. We're going to dethrone school or the teachers. We weren't really sure what we were dethroning, but by gosh, we were going to dethrone it. Do you know what? We were so proud of ourselves. We created a war banner and a slogan: disconnect from connections. And by gosh, we intended on disconnecting until everything kind of got shut down. So eventually we got the attention of our principal, and the principal called Monopoly into the office and, quote, the first thing that came out of her mouth was, so tell me about disconnect from connections. Based on that description of her alone, you can get the idea of where things were going. She didn't seem to like the petition very much. Found out later that it's because she like made the class. It was her idea, and she was hoping to like, I don't know, get a raise or a promotion because she had such a smash up idea, such a hit with the kids. Uh, so where the bad stuff comes to the story is that she confiscated the petitions because at the age we were when the teacher says, "Give me this," like we usually just kind of give them that. And when Shmambi came back and said, "Oh yeah, she took the petitions," we kind of put like all of our heads together to activate the one freshman brain cell we had. Say, wait, can't they like not do that? Don't we have like freedom to petition or whatever? I still don't know like if as students we're allowed to petition against the school. Feel like we were. So Monopoly like actually went back to her and said, "Hey, can I have that back? I think we're allowed to have those." Sorry, I lost them. So we didn't uh, have them anymore. And I just remember thinking when I learned that, I was like, that feels just kind of shady. I'm pretty sure she just threw them away. Of course, I don't have any like proof that she threw them away. I don't have the little footage, spy cam footage of her like throwing away and then doing an evil laugh. But I do think that she just kind of just threw them away, which feels sad. I'm sad. We talked very briefly of like getting legal help, seeing like, hey, can she like not do that? We were kind of dissuaded from doing that, given that we were talking about suing a multi-million-dollar school district and probably getting suspended or expelled, which is not super fun. I mean, looking back, I kind of wish we did, because we may have done something. So, shame on you, principal lady, taking my petitions to complain that you were making me play Duck, Duck, Goose. I don't want to play Duck, Duck, Goose. I haven't wanted to play Duck, Duck, Goose since I was 5. But yeah, that's the story of how my school took away my rights. Hypothetically speaking. The video be over now?